49 degrees in sunny Florida on a Sunday morning. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Mike and welcome back to another episode of AHC Garage. And today we got something pretty interesting to work on. Let's go take a look. So what do we have here, Miguel?
Well, we got this beautiful NSX here. We're going to get ready to do some suspension work to it. We're going to put H&R springs in it, and yeah, should be pretty good, man. So we're going to see how this thing turns out. All right, so the first step we got to do is get the wheel off. These have studs and caps, and we have this really handy Honda special tool for removing them because everything's got to be special. Awesome. So there's only one thing we need to get to up here, and that's the connector for the top of the strut. All the other mounting stuff is underneath. So we have to get access to it. It's located right here. So we gotta pull this cover off, and we'll pull some of these screws, and then we'll get in here, and we just gotta unclip it because it's going to go out the bottom. So all this has to come off. So we're on the rear here, and we have one bolt here at the bottom through the hub, and then we have two, kind of hard to see, there's two bolts up here, 2/17s, a lot like the front. What we do is we take a nice swivel on an extension, get it up in there, use your ratchet, crack them loose, and they'll come right on out. These shocks and struts, they go in on dowel pins, so they have to line up perfectly. It's very important when you're putting them in and taking them out that they go in and out evenly. It's very good looking. Yeah, they're like two really tight dowel pins. So on the bottom here, you saw how we got the top out. On the bottom, it's just one long 17 bolt and nut. But this one is also the trickiest one because this bolt comes all the way through here, and if you look on this side, you have this bracket that it goes through too that holds to the sway bar. So this will lose alignment with this bracket. So when you put it back together, you really have to work on keeping this all lined up. So I was talking about the dowel pins. These dowel pins here align the strut into the body. So that's why they have to be perfectly aligned. This has to be flush before a bolt will even fit and thread into it. Alright, so our first step is to get the actual upper strut mount off of the strut. We have to de-pin this plug, remove this connector clip deal here, remove this rubber. We'll do the rubber first so you can see why. So underneath here is the bolt that holds everything together, and the wire comes out the middle of it. Now this connector will not pass through the inside of that nut, so we have to remove the connector and everything in its way. Then we will use the special tool from Science of Speed to unlock this without damaging the strut.
So this is a special tool here that we use to disassemble this thing, and basically what it is this guy here is what's going to do the loosening of the nut. So it basically slides on over here, sits on the nut, and this guy here is what's going to hold the shaft from spinning. So slide this in here like that. And with the aid of a ratchet and a wrench, we can break this free, spin off the nut, keep the shaft from turning, keeps these guys from touching each other, and that's how we do that.
Alright, so we got the spring tension off of the strut so that everything will loosen up. So now we're going to use the special tool like Miguel showed before. So the whole goal is to not let the inner part turn. That needs to stay. Hold that. And only turn the outer. Yep. That's that. Seems simple, but a mistake right there will cost you a lot of money.
How much?
Or a finger. About $700 plus. Alright, so we got the struts in and we're on the dowels, which are very tricky to get lined up right, because if it's not right, the bolt doesn't want to get started. And you don't want to force it because you're threading into the aluminum body of the car. It's good to take your time to get everything lined up. You also have to make sure that your harness plug goes through the very small hole in the back of the upper strut tower, and that it doesn't get pinched while you're doing all of this. So we got everything set up. We're going to lower the car down and make sure our harnesses are routed properly before we button everything up down here. So the wire made it through. You can see this tiny slot right here that we have to route it through while fitting it. We got it out, so now all we got to do is put it on its little connector holder there. Plug it in, and this side's done. Double check that one. I think it Pull some air across there. All right, so we got the strut in. Its bolts are all in here. We just gotta snug them up. We got our big bottom pinch bolt through, and we got the nut on the other side. So all we have to do now is tighten everything up.
Okay, so now we're gonna put the wheel back on. We're gonna use a guide pin.
What they are now is something different.
So this is a studless rotor. So we need a guide pin so we can put the wheel on, keep good clearance around the calipers. We don't want to scratch anything or the rim. So everything goes back the way we took it off.
Kevin brought me over there, bro. So you saw how we take off the rears. The front's about the same, a little easier. All we have to do is take this clip off of here and clip that. We're ready to go.
Okay, so just to make some room up front here, we're gonna go ahead and move the brake line away from the fork. So that way we have good access to the bolt here. This is the strut sitting inside the fork. So this is what we're after. Okay, so this is the pinch bolt here that bolts the strut to the fork. So now it's removed. We're gonna work up top and get the strut out.
All right, so Miguel's gone ahead and detached everything from the lower part of the suspension on the strut. All we have to do now is remove these two 17s. I'm gonna show you how easy this comes out. We have everything here. The new H&R spring on the strut. Here's a better look at the dowels that we were talking about in the back. It's the same setup in the front. It's just we have better access here, so it's gonna be a little easier for us to line up. The only thing we have to do is as this goes in, we have to align it into the strut fork at the bottom that Miguel loosened before. So as it goes in, we'll be doing this together as a team.
All right, so strut's in. We got the pinch bolt in. We're gonna go ahead, tighten that up, fasten the brake line back to this, put the wheels on, and put her on the ground and see how she looks.
Alright, so everything's installed, but the last step on this car we have to do is we have to reset the height sensors on here, because now the car is lowered. If we don't tell the computer this is the new setting, it's going to think the car's got like 4,000 pounds on it, and it's going to set a code and reduce the power on the car. So we're going to use this Launch Max, the Autel Maxi system. This will go ahead and allow us to reset everything. Active dampening system. So when we do this, even though it will say failed, it still resets our sensor. So if we come in here, we can go into the live data, and it's going to show us our stroke sensor voltages here, and it lets us know pretty much the position. Oh, actually, we're here. A lot of this looks like it's already in its set position. So you see here it says negative. Bunch of negatives. That means the car is lower than what it was initially. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to change it. If we move the car some, you can sometimes see these things move.
Alright guys, there it is. H&R springs, 1-inch drop in the front, about 1/4-inch drop, 3/4-inch drop in the back. I really like the look. Drop a comment below and let us know what you think. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that thumbs up, the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel also. As always, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you guys on the next one.